All right, thank you guys. College football week 11, and this is the Big Ten version, the Big Ten edition, and we're going to start with the Iowa Hawkeyes taking on the Minnesota Golden Gophers, 7 p.m. Eastern start time this Friday night. Now, the Hawkeyes are the 3-point favorite on the road, totals 58, juice to the under. We're 3-0 in our last 3 extra daily picks on patreon.com/BrockPage. And if you want to unlock today's extra daily pick on patreon.com/BrockPage, so, excuse me, so excited, can't even get it out. It's only going to cost you $2.99. We're also 6-2 in our last 8 daily best plays on patreon.com/BrockPage. And if you want to unlock the daily best play, that's going to cost you only $1.99. We currently have over 675 members signed up and active on that site. And if you want to join those folks and get in on the action, link for that site is in the description section below. And once again, that's patreon.com/BrockPage. And of course, when it comes to this Iowa-Minnesota game, the Minnesota Golden Gophers are plus $1.50 for an upset win on the money line here. Now, the Gophers are just 1-2 straight up on the season, 1-2 against the spread in those 3 ball games. Quarterback Tanner Morgan is throwing for less than 205 yards a game, and he's been sacked 7 times. He's also thrown just 3 touchdown passes through 3 ball games. This Minnesota defense hasn't done them many favors either. They gave up 94 total points in their opening 2 games this season, and they're giving up over 200 yards a game on the ground. Now, Minnesota's dropped 7 out of their last 10 head-to-head meetings with Iowa, just 4-6 against the spread in those contests. And speaking of the Hawkeyes, they got back on track with a nice 49-7 blowout victory over Michigan State. They actually outscored Sparty 35-0 in the first half alone. And despite their 1-2 record, the Hawkeyes have successfully covered the number in their last 2 straight. Now, I was averaging 30 points a game along with 166 yards a game on the ground. Running back Tyler Goodson's carried it 43 times for 233 yards and 3 scores. Goodson's averaging 5.4 yards a carry. Meanwhile, defensively on the other side of the ball, the Hawkeyes are holding their opponents to just 17 points a game, and they force nearly double-digit turnovers already through just 3 contests. Defensive back Jack Corner has a pair of interceptions out of this Hawkeye secondary, 23 total tackles on the year. And linebacker Barrington Wade also has himself a pair of interceptions along with the sacks. And, wow, that... Let's get it out, Brock. All right, let's try that again. Linebacker Barrington Wade also has himself a pair of interceptions along with a sack and 6 tackles himself. Good job, Brock. Way to get it out, You're a YouTube guy and you can't talk. That's not good. Not a good recipe. But anyway, the Hawkeyes have won their last 5 straight meetings against Minnesota. They've also won 6 out of their last 9 conference games. Now, total-wise, Iowa's most recent contest with Michigan State flew 10 points above the posted number for that ball game. Meanwhile, Minnesota on the other side is 1-0 to the over at home, 2-1 to the over for this season. Their defense is allowing 36 points per contest. Give me the Iowa Hawkeyes -3 and the over 58 in that ball game. Before we go ahead and move on, just want to take another quick timeout and welcome you to the video. Got some lines and personalines out for college football week 11, the Big Ten edition. And before we dive into some more free content right here on YouTube, just have to quickly remind you once again that we are 3-0 in our last 3 extra daily picks on patreon.com/BrockPage. And if you want to unlock today's extra daily pick, it's only going to cost you $2.99. We're also 6-2 in our last 8 daily best plays on that site as well. And if you want to unlock today's daily best play, that's only going to cost you $1.99. We currently have over 675 members signed up and active on that site. And if you want to join those folks and get in on the action, the link for that site is in the description section below. And once again, that's patreon.com/BrockPage. And moving on, we're going to take a look at Illinois squaring off against Rutgers. And that's going to be a 12 p.m. Eastern start time in New Jersey. Noon start time in that game there. But anyway, the Rutgers Scarlet Knights are -6 at home. Totals 52 flat. Now the Fighting Illini are plus $1.90 for an upset win. The Illini just lost their third straight ball game to open up the 2020 season. These guys are not looking good at all. And their most recent loss was a 41-14 loss to Minnesota. Now the Illini's averaging just 15 points a game, and they're throwing for less than 165 yards a game as well. So very inept on the offensive side of the ball. Even their top receiver, Brian Hightower, is averaging just 43 yards receiving a game. Meanwhile, defensively, Illinois has given up 31 points or more in all three of their contests this season. 39 points a game they're officially giving up, and nearly 200 yards a game they're giving up on the ground. This Illinois secondary also has just one interception thus far in the season. Meanwhile, the Illini have lost their last 5 straight conference games. Of course, that dates back to last season. Now, they're taking on a Rutgers program who's covered 2 out of their last 3 ball games, including marquee covers over Ohio State and Michigan State. And as a matter of fact, that Michigan State cover was an 11-point outright victory over the Spartans. Now, the Scarlet Knights here are scoring nearly 30 points a game, and they're rushing for almost $1.25 on the ground. Running back Isaiah Pacheco is averaging 4.4 yards a carry for Rutgers, and he's plunged it into the end zone twice on the ground. So getting some pretty good production out of Pacheco early in this 2020 season. Now, total-wise, Rutgers is officially 1-0 to the over at home, 3-0 to the over for the entire season. Meanwhile, Illinois, on the other side of things, saw their opening matchup of 2020 against Wisconsin get over the posted number themselves. So with all that said and done, a little bit of a chalky lean here. Give me the Rutgers Scarlet Knights -6 and the over 52 in that ball game. Next contest, Indiana, Michigan State, 12 p.m. Eastern start time in East Lansing. The Indiana Hoosiers are the 7-point favorite on the road. Totals 52, juice to the over. So once again, the number 52 juice to the over. And if you like Sparty in an upset at home, they're plus 245 to win it. Now, Michigan State's coming fresh off an embarrassing 42-point loss to Iowa. One of their worst losses in a really long time, especially, not that Iowa's bad, but, to lose by that much to Iowa is completely unacceptable. They gave up 35 first-half points to the Hawkeyes as they went into halftime down 35-0. The game was over after 30 minutes. But anyway, this Michigan State team is allowing 37 points a game and over 160 yards a game on the ground. Now, Sparty's also failed to cover the number in their last 5 straight at home, along with failing to cover the number in 9 out of their last 11 conference games as well. They're taking on an invigorated Indiana program who's 3-0 straight up on the season, undefeated through 3 contests, big wins against the likes of Penn State and Michigan. The Hoosiers are officially 3-0 against the spread as well, and they find themselves averaging 37 points per contest. Quarterback Michael Penix is throwing for 250 yards a game, along with 7 touchdown passes. His favorite target's been wideout Whop Philyor, who has 21 catches for 252 yards and a touchdown. Meanwhile, defensively, Indiana's averaging nearly 3 sacks per contest, and they have 7 interceptions on the season already. Defensive back Jalen Williams has a pair of interceptions from that secondary, 1 PBU and 8 tackles. Meanwhile, linebacker Micah McFadden currently leads this program in tackles with 21 of them. Now, total-wise, Indy's 1-0 to the over when traveling, 3-0 to the over for the season. Meanwhile, the Spartans on the other side saw 2 out of their last 3 get over the line themselves. Give me the Indiana Hoosiers -7 and the over 52 in that contest. Next matchup, Penn State taking on Nebraska, 12 p.m. Eastern kickoff in Corn Country. Penn State's the 3-point favorite, totals 56.5. The Cornhuskers of Nebraska are plus 135 for an outright win. Now, Nebraska's having a tough time moving the football, just 30 total points they've scored through 2 games. Having said that, though, they did show a very good effort against Northwestern this past week. Northwestern playing some really good football this year, by the way, undefeated. But anyway, they held the Wildcats to just 14 points through the first 3 quarters of play in that ball game. Linebacker Colin Miller has 13 total tackles on the season. He's currently the leader in tackles on this Cornhusker defense. Meanwhile, offensively, as much as they've struggled putting points up on the board, this rushing attack is certainly worthy of consideration. They're gaining 217 yards a game on the ground, and they've scored 3 rushing touchdowns, so they certainly have the ability to move the ball and, kind of eat up some clock and have some sustained drives, all the while gaining yards on the ground. But anyway, they're taking on a Penn State squad who's coming fresh off a 16-point loss to Maryland. The Penn State defense has given up 35 points or more in all 3 of their contests this season. This Nittany Lion program looks like they're absolutely in shambles right now. But anyway, the Nittany Lions are giving up over 120 yards a game on the ground, and they failed to cover the point spread in 6 out of their last 7 conference ball games. So even if you've been backing the Nittany Lions, they have not been cashing for their backers in the past couple of seasons. But anyway, total-wise, 2 out of Penn State's last 3 ball games got over the posted number. I do like the home dogs in this spot here. Give me the underdog, Nebraska Cornhuskers, +3 in the over 56.5 in that contest. All right, next matchup. It is going to be Ohio State, Maryland, 3:30 p.m. Eastern start time at Maryland Stadium. The Buckeyes are -25 with the total at 73 and a hook. The Terrapins are +750 for an upset win. Now, this Maryland defense is giving up 35 points a game and over 225 yards a game on the ground. That should end up being problematic for the Terps here. And as good as they've looked in their past couple of ball games, the Terrapins have still lost 13 out of their last 16 conference games, so really struggling in the Big Ten. They're taking on a powerful Ohio State program who just put up 49 on Rutgers. They were up 35-3 at half of that ball game. The Buckeyes have covered 2 out of their last 3 games, and they find themselves scoring 46 points a game on average. Quarterback Justin Fields, he's completing an unheard of 87% of his passes this season. He's 72 of 83 for 908 yards and 11 scores. Those are like video game numbers to go 72 of 83. Unbelievable. Fields has yet to throw an interception this season. Not surprising there. He's averaging 303 yards passing a game. Now, wide receiver Garrett Wilson has 24 catches for 344 and a couple of TDs. Wilson's averaging 115 yards a game receiving. And wideout Chris Olave's also got 18 catches for 288 and 4 touchdowns as well. Olave's averaging 16 yards of reception, and oftentimes he's double-teamed. Now, rushing-wise, this Ohio State offense is gaining 209 yards a game on the ground. Running back Master Teague is averaging 4.5 yards a carry, and he's run it into the end zone 4 times. Now, total-wise, 2 out of OSU's 3 contests on the season stayed under the posted number. Meanwhile, the Terrapins on the other side are 2-1 to the under through 3 games themselves. Give me the Ohio State Buckeyes -25 and the under 73.5 in that game. All right, next matchup. It is going to be Northwestern squaring off against Purdue. 7:30 p.m. Eastern kickoff. The Wildcats of Northwestern are the 3-point favorite. Totals 50 and a hook. The Purdue Boilermakers are +120 for some money line cash. Purdue's 2-0 straight up on the season. Victories over Illinois and Iowa. No real surprise there as those programs are struggling. But Purdue's looking pretty good here, guys. Quarterback Aiden O'Connell is completing 71% of his passes, and he averages 327 yards a game through the air. Now, wideout David Bell has 22 catches for 243 yards and 4 touchdowns through just 2 games. Meanwhile, defensively, the Boilermakers already have 6 takeaways. Linebacker DeMarcus Mitchell has 17 total tackles and a sack. He currently leads the team in tackles. And Jalen Alexander also has 15 tackles thus far in the season. 1 forced fumble for Jalen as well. They're taking on a Northwestern squad who's 3-0 straight up themselves. But they've beaten the likes of Nebraska, Iowa, and Maryland. All 3 are teams who have struggled significantly already in the start of this 2020 season. Now, quarterback Peyton Ramsey has thrown just 3 touchdown passes along with 3 interceptions, and he's only averaging 170 yards a game passing as well. So really not a huge threat for these guys to kind of throw it all around the field. His top receiver, Ramad Chickow Bowman, is averaging just 37 yards a game receiving, and he's yet to score a touchdown this season. Now, the Wildcats have scored less than 22 points in their last 2 straight as well. Now, total-wise, Northwestern's 1-0 to the under on the road, 3-0 to the under on the season. Meanwhile, Purdue's currently 2-0 to the under themselves. 0 overs between these two programs this season yet. So with all that said and done, going to lean toward another underdog catching some points here. Give me the underdog Purdue Boilermakers +3 and the under 50.5 in that contest. All right, next and final matchup for the show, it is going to be Wisconsin squaring off against Michigan, 7:30 p.m. Eastern start time at the Big House. The Wisconsin Badgers are -4 on the road, totals 53.5. And if you like the Wolverines and an upset at home, they're +160 for an upset win. Now, keep an eye on the status for this game. A lot of COVID cases in Wisconsin, so just keep an eye on the game, keep an eye on the injury report and the COVID list, and really just to see if this game's going to be played. But anyway, Michigan just came off an embarrassing 17-point loss to Indiana. They scored just 7 first-half points in that contest. They also lost 27-24 to a pretty bad Michigan State team the week before that. And the Wolverines are allowing 30 points a game and nearly $125 on the ground. They also have just 2 takeaways in 3 games as well. So not that opportunistic dominant Michigan defense as we're used to seeing. Now they are taking on a Wisconsin team who's 1-0 on the season. They actually haven't played since October 23rd, thanks to the plague. But anyway, quarterback Graham Mertz went a staggering 20 for 21 passing in their opener against Illinois. 248 yards and 5 touchdown passes for Mertz. Now his favorite target was big tight end Jake Ferguson, who had caught 7 balls for 72 yards and 3 scores. Now this Badger offense also has rushed for 182 yards on the ground in their opener as well. Wisconsin has successfully covered the point spread in 5 out of their last 6 against Michigan. And when it comes to the total in this one, Wisconsin's lone ball game of the season did get over the posted total. Meanwhile, the Wolverines saw 2 out of their last 3 contests on the year get over the line themselves. So with all that in mind, give me the Wisconsin Badgers -4 and the over. Let's try it again. Give me the Wisconsin Badgers -4 and the over 53.5 in that game. Brain fart. I don't know what was going on there. Anyway, guys, that is going to do it for me. Don't forget to check me out on Patreon. If you guys decide to get a package here today, just keep in mind, we'll bill you the day you sign up and then the first of every month following that. But most importantly, guys, got to thank you for joining me right here on YouTube. Really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. And with that said, happy Wednesday to you. Happy hump day to you. And I look forward to seeing you later on today on my website. And that's patreon.com/BrockPage.